Hello and welcome to Mustang GameDay here in Swanson Studio. We're live breaking down everything about Cal Poly Beach Volleyball ahead of the Big West Beach Volleyball Championships here at the Swanson Beach Volleyball Complex. I'm Charlie Wiltsey here with my co-host Ty Soria, and we're going to take a look at the Mustangs' really strong season this year and break down some of their preparations heading into the Big West Conference Tournament that's happening right now.
Yeah, in the Big West Tournament, this is the first time that Cal Poly is hosting it at Swanson Beach Volleyball Complex since 2022, which was actually the last time that Cal Poly won the Big West Tournament and advanced to the NCAA Finals. And this is a two-day tournament with both pool play today and tomorrow with bracket play. And here is how it works. The winner of the tournament will advance to the winner of the tournament will automatically advance to the NCAA tournament. It is a two-day format with pool play on Thursday, bracket play on Friday. 7 teams with 6 of them making it to day 2. And how it works is Pool A is going to be Cal Poly, Hawaii, and CSUN, and all 3 of these teams will be advancing automatically to day 2. And Pool B is made up of Long Beach State, UC Davis, Sac State, and Cal State Bakersfield, and 3 out of 4 of those teams will get that spot. The matchups in pool play will determine the seeding for bracket play, which we will get into a little bit later. And the winners of each pool will each get a bye to day number 2. And yeah.
I mean, earlier today, Cal Poly beat CSUN 5-0. Hawaii beat Sac State 5-0. Long Beach State beats Bakersfield 3-2. And then UC Davis beat CSUN 3-2.
Yep. And then Hawaii also lost to Long Beach State just now. That match just ended, so that means that Cal State Bakersfield has begun their game against Sacramento State, and that is the second to last game. And Cal Poly plays UC Davis in the final match of the tournament, or of day 1 at 7 p.m.
Yeah, and we were both at the CSUN game earlier today, but let's take a look back into Cal Poly's season as a whole. It was another really strong season for Cal Poly. They went 26-8 overall in the year. They were ranked in the top 10 like the whole season long consistently. Currently, they're at 6th. They were as high as 4th earlier in the season. Yeah, it's just been a consistent team, which we expected, going into this year. They've beaten every single team who they were supposed to beat based on the rankings, but they've struggled to close games at times against those higher-ranked teams like Stanford, like UCLA. They haven't found those winning sets. Some of those matches that I just mentioned, especially Stanford, we saw here in person at the Center of Effort Challenge. Literally, Cal Poly was 1 set away from taking the win over the then #1 ranked team in the nation. And then last week, 1 week later, same story, 1 set away from winning that match. So Cal Poly has been really close all season long. They're certainly competing against those top teams in the nation, but they haven't delivered in some of those key moments, which we'll see as we move towards the NCAA championships, which is coming up really soon.
Yeah, and speaking of that Center of Effort tournament, we have a recap of what happened with Cal Poly at Center of Effort. It was a huge tournament here in San Luis Obispo, and there was a lot of action. 6 of the top 10 nationally ranked teams played and came to San Luis Obispo. It is arguably the most competitive beach volleyball tournament besides the national championship itself. So here's a little recap of what happened.
Oh yeah, come on!
Cal Poly's beach volleyball hosted the Center of Effort tournament this past weekend, bringing a high-level competition and a packed crowd to the sand.
It was so fun to have as much energy and so many people here. I think it's always nice to host at Poly because we have such an awesome facility.
This facility and the fans that we have are absolutely amazing, like win or lose regardless, the amount of support that we have here. And for other schools to see that, like I haven't traveled anywhere else basically where this many people come out, this many people come and support, like the stands and the crowds are cheering right behind you. Like I've never been anywhere else that does that.
And while the energy was high, the Mustangs say they're still fine-tuning their game against some of the top teams in the nation.
As a whole, we definitely have some things we need to work on. Like we're right there with the top schools. We're literally losing by 2 points in 3rd set. So as a whole, we just need to collectively figure out a way to finish those matches so that we can come out on top.
Overall, I think it just benefits us because it's not like we're seeing them for the first time.
With postseason play approaching, the team says it's not about rebuilding, but refining, focusing on the small details they can control as they prepare for NCAAs.
Because the things we need to work on are things that are in our control. It's not like, oh my God, these teams are light years ahead of us. It's things that we can control. So that just gives me so much more confidence that like, oh, we have the ability and the talent to do it. So now we just need to figure out how to put those pieces together before NCAAs.
Cal Poly will look to build on this weekend's experience as they continue to push towards the postseason. For Mustang News, I'm Ava Keshkar.
And Cal Poly's back on their home sand for the first time since the Center of Effort Challenge today. We're going to kick it to break, but when we come back, we'll be breaking down the Big West Tournament and Cal Poly's history in the tournament.
Okay, so before we come over, can I ask a few questions?
Yeah, sure.
Do you have any pets?
Yes, we have a dog, but she's little.
Do you have any unlocked guns around the house?
We do have a gun, but it's stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access. I appreciate you asking.
Yeah, of course. So does Friday work?
Sounds good to me.
All right, we'll bring pizza. Okay, so before we come over, can I ask a few questions?
Yeah, sure.
Do you have any pets?
Yes, we have a dog, but she's little.
Do you have any unlocked guns around the house?
We do have a gun, but it's stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access. I appreciate you asking.
Yeah, of course. So does Friday work?
Sounds good to me.
All right, we'll bring pizza.
Welcome back to Mustang Game Day. We're less than 2 hours away from Cal Poly's second match of pool play today. Let's get into what Cal Poly might see from their Big West opponents this weekend.
Yeah, and first off, starting with the pool play, Match A was Cal Poly versus CSUN. Again, we saw Cal Poly destroy the Matadors in all straight sets. And then Match 2 was Hawaii against Sac State. No surprises there. Hawaii won. UC Davis beat CSUN 3-2. It was a very close match. And Long Beach State beat CSU Bakersfield, who was the number 7 seed. And in Match 7, Cal Poly, that's Cal Poly versus UC Davis, which is going to be at 7 p.m. But Match 5 and 6, M2 and M3, that was Long Beach State versus Hawaii. And the winner of that game was Long Beach State. They beat Hawaii 4-1. Long Beach State is the 10th ranked team in the nation. Hawaii is number 16, and they're both fighting for a Big West at-large bid. And Match 6 is going to be Cal State Bakersfield versus Sacramento State. They're playing for that final spot in the Day 2 bracket challenge. So the winner of that game, they're just fighting for a spot to compete, whereas Hawaii and Long Beach State, they're fighting for a spot. They're fighting for a bye in pool play.
Yeah, and no surprise there, Long Beach beating Hawaii, but that was kind of the big question, I think, today, is who would win in that matchup, because, like we mentioned earlier, this is a very top-heavy tournament, Cal Poly, Long Beach State, and Hawaii, so seeing Hawaii take that victory over Long Beach today it tells us a lot about where this tournament might go once we get to bracket play tomorrow.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of history with Cal Poly, Long Beach State, and Hawaii in these past few years in the Big West tournament. Let's take a look at what has happened in the last few years. Cal Poly fell to Long Beach State 3-1 in the shocking upset in the Big West final last year. And at that time, Cal Poly was ranked number 6 and Long Beach State number 10, just like it is this year. And this tournament is, obviously that's going to be a revenge, but also for 2024, because Cal Poly lost to Long Beach State before that in the semifinals, 3-2, very close match. And then in 2023, guess what? Cal Poly lost to Long Beach State again in the title match. And Cal Poly was the 4th seed that time. And then in 2022, Cal Poly did take the Big West Championship when it was hosted back here in San Luis Obispo, and they beat Hawaii 3-2. And Cal Poly was actually the 3 seed in that tournament. So it's pretty peculiar that it's been 2-3, 2-3 in these past few years in the tournament. So you really never know what's going to happen, even though Cal Poly is the sixth ranked team in the nation, and they haven't lost to anyone below them in the national rankings.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, this tournament really has not been kind to Cal Poly. We've talked about, they came in as the favored team in all, last, 3 years now? Mm-hmm. And they haven't been able to deliver against Long Beach State. Long Beach won today, so it's, we'll see what happens, but it's looking likely that that could be the matchup again for Cal Poly. Can they get it done this year, or are their sights set, on the NCAA tournament? It's going to be interesting to see how they do, because this tournament has been tough for Cal Poly, despite them coming in as the favored team pretty much every year over the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, and also one thing to add is Cal Poly has not lost a set to Long Beach State this year, whereas last year they did lose a game to Long Beach State before the Big West Championship, so that was a little precursor to that. But Cal Poly has looked very strong against the Beach this season, making sure that they beat down on them every single game. I'm sure they've been taking their anger out on them this during the season, but it doesn't really matter until tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, and that's different from last year. We'll get more into their history with the Beach later on in the show, but last year they did not sweep the Beach every single time they faced them. So maybe that's a better sign for Cal Poly. They also beat Hawaii both times they faced them this year. So they've fared very well against their Big West opponents this season, particularly Long Beach State, winning 5-0 each time they've faced them. One time here at home. So it'll be interesting to see, if history repeats itself, or if Cal Poly can deliver the third and final win of the season.
Yeah, and getting into more of a preview of the Big West, we have reporter Jacob Binder, who talked to a bunch of players earlier this week.
Cal Poly Beach Volleyball has been a top 10 team in the country for the last 2 years, and is currently ranked number 6 in the nation. Despite the national rankings, they've been unable to capture a Big West championship. Cal Poly has been eliminated by Long Beach State 3 times, with 2 of those losses coming in the conference finals. This Thursday, they'll have a chance to get the revenge on their home courts.
I love having home tournaments at Cal Poly, and I think that just with our momentum throughout this season and the fact that we are undefeated in Big West and hosting that at home, I think is just going to be huge, because our fans get really rowdy, and I think that gives us a lot of hype energy, and it's scary for other teams to play against.
The Mustangs are 26-8 this season and will enter the tournament as the number 1 seed. They have played better than ever against Big West competition this year, shutting out every team except Hawaii, who they still beat 4-1.
I mean, the Big West, Long Beach is very good, Hawaii is very good, but I'm confident in my own ability to look at teams and say, okay, this is the skill level. We are a grade above those other teams. But that doesn't mean you still can't lose. We still have to show up. We still got to perform to the best of our abilities. And if we play our A game, like I said, we should win.
A big part of their success this season has been the new transfers. One transfer, senior Julia Westby, was actually a part of those Long Beach teams for the past 3 years. Now, she's looking to bring a conference championship home to San Luis Obispo.
But I think Cal Poly going in this year, we're for sure going to be super hungry because we want to win that championship. I think we definitely have a good chance of winning this year, so I'm really excited. And I definitely know Long Beach is scared to play at Cal Poly this year because we got so many fans.
Although the Mustangs are a lock for the NCAA championships, Coach Todd Rogers has his team in tunnel vision for Thursday and Friday.
Let's break down winning the Big West into smaller chunks. And if we attain those smaller chunks, now all of a sudden we end up with the Big West. And then we go to NCAAs and we do the same thing, break it down into smaller chunks. There's always steps to it. So that will be part of the process to get to hopefully winning a Big West championship.
With the Big West championships kicking off Thursday morning, Cal Poly is feeling primed to win their first conference title in years and show the rest of the nation why they should not be underestimated at the NCAA championships. For Mustang News, I'm Jacob Binder.
Cal Poly Beach Volleyball heading into the Big West tournament, and one standout person from this Cal Poly Beach team is not only the players, but head coach Todd Rogers, who you saw earlier in that package. And Todd, he's just one of the most chill guys that I've ever talked to. I mean, you would hope so with a beach volleyball player.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, over the past couple years we've covered them. He's definitely one of the most chill coaches that you've seen at Cal Poly, but he's also one of the most competitive. And I remember talking to him after literally the first exhibition match that Cal Poly had, and his sights were already set on the NCAA championships. So he's fun. He's having a good time, but obviously he wants to win as well. So Cal Poly's pretty lucky to have him, behind on the sand, I guess.
Yeah, one thing he always says is, we are not the underdogs. That is always a philosophy That's a consistent motto that he always uses throughout the years. And we're actually going to toss it to Jacob in a little bit, and he's going to have him on. But for now, we're going to go into a break, and when we come back, Todd Rogers.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
There I was, 16, divorced, remarried with a baby, another on the way, and I could barely read or write. Getting my high school diploma was a catalyst I needed. Now I have a bachelor's, a master's, and I became a teacher. When I look at all these success stories, I could not help but think it all started by getting my high school diploma.
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire, and how to control the flames. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back to Mustang GameDay. We are less than 60 minutes away from the start of Cal Poly versus UC Davis. An exciting slate of games coming up today and tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this slate of games. But I think it's time we break down what Cal Poly has done in some of the bigger tournaments, not just the Big West, the NCAA tournament, which we both covered last year. Todd, do you want to talk about 2024 a little bit?
Yeah, in 2024, Cal Poly came in as the 5 seed nationally, and they lost to Florida State in 2022, actually, but in 2024, they beat number 12 ASU and beat Florida State 3-1, got their revenge, but then lost to the number 1 team in the nation, USC, 3-0, got swept. In 2023, they didn't make it to the NCAA championships. It was a little bit of an off year, but in 2022, they were the 12th seed, so they got one of those at-large bids from winning the Big West championship, and they lost 3-2 to number 5 Florida State. So yeah, the little bit of runs from Cal Poly, but Charlie, want to get into what happened last year?
Yeah, definitely. 2025 was the most successful run out of all of these years. It was a really improbable run. I'm really glad that we both got to cover it that season, coming off of that loss to Long Beach State, like we mentioned, in the Big West tournament. They really turned it around. It seemed like that was what they needed to get the fuel going into the biggest tournament of the year, which is obviously NCAA's. They beat LSU in the first round in a 3-0. They swept them. Yeah, they swept them in the first round.
Yeah, LSU was a team that people were like, oh, like don't sleep on them. Like they could upset Cal Poly, but
yeah, absolutely.
Never happened.
And then they went on to beat Stanford before they fell in the semifinals. But we have Todd Rogers here live down at the Swanson Beach Volleyball Complex. So we're going to toss to our reporter, Jacob Binder, who's with him right now.
All right, we're here at Swanson Beach Volleyball Complex, here with Coach Todd Rogers. Todd, you told me earlier in the week you want to go 20-0 this weekend to get prepared for nationals. You won 5-0 this morning. How does it feel to get that first 5-0?
You know, it's a start in the right direction. Hopefully we can get another 5-0 tonight. Then from there, actually tomorrow's duels go to decision, which means 3-0. So I was a little wrong in my original number. So the number is 16-0, and that's always the hope for us. We want to beat every single team out there, and there's 5 of them, and fortunately all our gals are on the same page. So far so good to start.
Yeah, and I've heard rumors you've been hanging around the complex all day. What have you learned from seeing these other teams play?
I have been hanging around the complex all day. I just watched Long Beach and Hawaii play. That's going to be our main competition tomorrow. Obviously, we discussed that earlier. I mean, they both look solid. I like our chances, though. I mean, I think our team's, if not the best team in the country, certainly one of, and that's where we're moving towards right now, and the first step is to win the Big West.
Yeah, and you guys are playing most likely 12:30 tomorrow if you beat UC Davis. How are you going to prepare for UC Davis right now in about an hour?
We've already scouted them. All our players watched them play Northridge earlier today, watched some film on them. So they know where they're at, and we'll go out there and we'll hopefully take care of business.
Yeah, you guys did beat all of the Big West teams earlier this season. How does it feel knowing that you've been so dominant and knowing that you should come away with this tournament, as you said earlier in the week as well?
I'm of the opinion that I like to be the one with the bullseye on the back. I want to be the dog. I don't want to be the underdog. I've tried to relay that to our players. Hopefully they have adopted that as well. And hey, you've beaten them already. So you have the bullseye on your back. Embrace it and show them why you have the bullseye on the back. You have the bullseye on the back because you're the better squad. Go out there and do that.
Logan actually mentioned me earlier in this week talking about having a target on her back after her and Izzy won the Pair of the Week a week or two ago. They played amazing today. What do you tell them and other players who have targets on their back, as you said, the whole team? What do you tell them, like their attitude before going into matches like this?
Embrace that. It's why, hopefully, if you have the bullseye on your back, that means you are at the top, right? Or one of the top teams. Why do you play sports? You play sports to have fun, for sure, but the ultimate goal is to get to the top and have everyone looking up at you, which means you have a big bullseye on you. And you should love that you're in that position and enjoy that position and know that you're going to get the best that whatever team you play, it doesn't matter if it's the worst team or the best team, they're going to give you everything they have. Then you can measure yourself, and really sports is about measuring yourself against other competition, and you're going to lose some for sure, but hopefully you win more, and eventually if you keep winning more, you end up with that bullseye in the back, and it's a good feeling knowing that you're really good, you got the bullseye, and you're getting everyone's A game against you.
All right, well, thank you, Coach. We're here at Swanson. Cal Poly kicks off against UC Davis in about 1 hour. Head back to Ty and Charlie in the studio.
Thank you, Jacob, and thank you so much, Todd, for that interview. And before we get into more of that, we're going to talk about some transfers that have come into Cal Poly this year. Cal Poly lost 4 seniors last year to graduation, most notably Piper Furch and Maddie Nichols and Lindsay Sparks. And coming in, there's been a few transfers that have made their impact at Cal Poly. The first one off the top of my head is Ashley Adams. She's a senior who transferred in from Florida Atlantic University. She competes in the number 3 spot with Quinn Perry, and she was a 2025 second-team All-American. She got that twice, and she helped take FAU to the NCAA tournament last year. Right now, FAU is ranked number 15, and from what I've seen, she is very fierce and has a lot of energy. Also, Peyton Dueck, and she is more of a familiar face, even though she's a transfer, because she played her freshman year at Cal Poly. She was on the indoor team and the beach team, and she transferred to UCLA, was on the indoor team and beach team there. She was on the last Cal Poly to win a Big West championship all the way back in 2022, and she played 3 seasons of indoor volleyball at UCLA with 1,339 total digs throughout her year as a defensive player. And last but not least, Bailey Showalter. She had a small role in the 4 and 5 spots at USC during her time there, and she appeared a lot earlier in the season, but she's kind of fallen out of favor as of late. But one more is actually Julia Westby, and she's the most interesting because she was on Long Beach State. She was on those teams that beat Cal Poly, and I talked to her earlier this week, and here's what she had to say about it. Long Beach State has bested Cal Poly 3 times in the past 3 years in the Big West Championships, and while I've asked many Cal Poly players what went wrong, I finally got a perspective from the other side. I talked to Julia Westby, a current Cal Poly Mustang who used to play for Long Beach State and was on those teams that bested them the past 3 years. And she said, to put it simply, they wanted it more.
Personally, I think Long Beach was kind of the underdog, and we needed to win that championship to get to the NCAA tournament to get a secure bid.
Since joining Cal Poly, Westby has been a key asset, competing in the 4th spot with sophomore Elise Lenahan. They also just earned their first Big West Pair of the Week award this season.
Now, granted, she's very athletic and she jumps out of the gym and she's a very good blocker.
While the Mustangs should have won at least 1 Big West championship since 2022, she still recognized that Cal Poly was a winning program.
I honestly just needed a change, and I knew that if I were to stay at Long Beach, that change wouldn't have happened.
On March 22nd, Westby and the Mustangs traveled to Long Beach State's home courts. While obvious tension filled the ocean breeze, Westby and Lanahan locked in, beating their opponents 21-9 and 21-14 in straight sets. They swept their second matchup against the Beach 2 weeks later.
Obviously, I'm super competitive, so I had to take that all on the court, but it was cool going back there and like seeing my friends and seeing the Long Beach community.
This is Ty Sawyer reporting from Swanson Beach Volleyball Complex. Back to Ty in the studio. Just kidding.
And we're going to kick it to break here, but stick around because when we come back, we'll be breaking down every single one of Cal Poly's starters in the lineup ahead of the matchup with UC Davis.
I tell my son, I love you every single day.
I love you.
Now, my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
I tell my son, I love you every single day.
I love you.
Now, my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son.
Welcome back to Mustang GameDay. Well, we're breaking down everything about Cal Poly Beach Volleyball ahead of their matchup with UC Davis just in about an hour. And Cal Poly has seen really strong production from every single spot in their lineup, 1 through 5. So let's break down all pairs one by one.
Starting off with number 5 is going to be Peyton Dueck and Katie Clevenger. And that duo beat number 7 Cal in the past tournament. They beat Pepperdine in the Stanford tournament. And another partner that Dueck has also had is Bailey Showalter. This season, Clevenger and Dueck are 4-2, but Showalter was the partner earlier in the season, but I don't think that she's gonna appear like this late in the season. And the other pair that's number 5 is Maddie Byrne and Hannah Byers. They recently lost to Stanford in 2 sets, 21-16 and 21-14 in the Stanford tournament. They beat San Jose State, but the important thing is that they also beat Stanford in center of effort in 3 sets. The third set went all the way to 19-17, but they also did lose to ASU. So that's pair 5 is a little bit complicated for who's going to be in that role for this tournament.
Yeah, and after that, it gets pretty standard after that, just for Cal Poly and Todd Rogers' lineups. At number 4, it's Julia Westby, who we talked about earlier, and Elise Lenahan. They're really, really consistent. They've been consistent all year. They went 24-3 on the season, and 23 of their 27 match appearances came at the number 4 spot. So they've been really solid there all year long, which I think may have helped them just have such a strong season. There at the number 4, Westby's a 5'10 senior who transferred from Long Beach State going into this year, and she was an All Big West first teamer last season while at Long Beach State. She definitely gave Cal Poly a lot of problems, so it's nice to see her on this side for Cal Poly. And then Elisa Lenahan's a 5'9 sophomore who saw the sand quite a bit as a freshman, 30 appearances last year, and competed both at the number 4 and number 5 flights with different teammates. So she's had a much more consistent role this year at the number 4. And so they're going to be really key for Cal Poly just as they go on into the more important matches of the season.
Yeah, and then going into number 3, that's going to be Quinn Perry and Ashley Adams. They spent a little bit of time in the 4 spot, but now secured their spot at number 3. They have a 23-4 record this season. Very, very, very strong. And however, three out of those 4 losses came against Stanford, even at the 4 spot. So they have an 0-3 record against Stanford, but they also beat UCLA both times that they saw the court against them. So it's very matchup based with them. So we're going to see how they're going to fare against Long Beach or Hawaii, but they've been very strong against some teams and not as strong against others.
Yeah, they'll definitely be key. But the pair that I think has been the most consistent, the most dominant all season long is at the number 2, which is Izzy Martinez and Logan Walter for Cal Poly. They have been 30-3. They have the most appearances out of any of the lineups that Cal Poly has brought. And they have the best win-to-loss ratio out of any of the Mustangs lineups as well, despite having the most appearances. They've just been such a strong flight. Both of them have seen time at the number 1 spot over their careers at Cal Poly. Martinez, a 5'9" senior, played with Walter last year as well. So they've had a lot of consistency playing together. They played both at the 1 and the 2 last season. Last year she was an ABCA All-American, a Big West first teamer, and she's been first team All-Big West every single year since joining Cal Poly, which she was only the 5th in program history to do it as a freshman. So she's been so good ever since becoming a Mustang, even as a freshman. Walter, a junior, and she was mainly at the 4 spot as a freshman before she was paired with Martinez last season. Also an ABCA All-American, also first team All-Big West. They've been just so good together all season long. Some of their biggest matches were at the Center of Effort Challenge. They won both of their matches against the top-ranked teams, including Stanford. So they're going to be really big to watch, and they're likely to get that win if they're in the lineup for Cal Poly.
Yeah, they also have the most career wins as a pair with 60, and that counts this season too. So very applause to them for this whole season, their whole careers. But getting into number 1. That's going to be Ella Connor and Aaron Inskeep. These are 2 players that were ranked as the AVCA coaches poll ranked Aaron Inskeep as number 11 in the top players and Ella Connor as number 2 as the top players in the nation in the preseason polls. And while they have, I think that Ella and Aaron, they have the potential, to be the best pair because, they're the best 2 players. However, I feel like they haven't lived up to, the number 1 pair at Cal Poly, just because of that 29-5 record. They're supposed to be a stronghold, but their most traumatic loss came against that UCLA game. The match came down to the final court. They were the only pair that went to 3 sets, so everyone was watching that court in the final game, and they lost 16-14. That was the most frustrating loss for them, but they have so much experience. They have the tools. They just need to put it all together in this tournament and in the Natties.
Yeah, and it's really cool to see Ella Connor back at the number 1 spot, recovering from injury. She was at the number 4s last year as well. So she's been really key, and it's really cool to see her kind of reclaim her spot at the top of the Big West. And speaking of Ella Connor, as she's risen to be one of the top players in NCAA beach volleyball, she's brought along an unlikely companion, her service dog, Mr. Herc. So reporter Chloe Showerman got the chance to talk to Ella and Mr. Herc about what he brings to the team.
Here at Swanson Beach Volleyball Complex, not all players have 2 legs. The 4-legged Irish Setter Golden Retriever mix, Hercules, has taken on new heights by being the beach volleyball team's Director of Player Morale. Come here. Can you see him in this? Ella Connor, a 5th-year beach volleyball player, got Hercules her sophomore year after experiencing challenges with her mental health. The adoption, which originally started as a solo step for herself, quickly turned into something that could benefit her whole team.
I actually got him at an agency called Doggy Do Good that's in Oro Grande. He's a service dog for Panic Attack, and he's just been a light to everyone since that.
Hercules cheers on all his teammates from the sidelines, whether that be practice or games, and travels with the team on planes for away games. His contributions have even earned him his very own spot on the roster.
Herc, I love Herc. He's a huge morale booster. He's always happy, energetic. If you need to pet a dog or anything, if you're going through something, he's always there.
When he's not with the team, Hercules has been known to eat lots of peanut butter, play with shadows, and feature his adventures on his Instagram page. For Mustang News, I'm Chloe Showerman.
When we come back, we're going to evaluate whether Cal Poly, the number 6 ranked team in the nation, has a chance to win the national championship. Stick with us.
Hate is loud. It gets clicks. It gets attention. Hate, however, is actually quite small. But love is the majority. Love fills our hearts, our lives, our every day. Hate is loud. It gets clicks. It gets attention. Hate, however, is actually quite small. But love is the majority. Love fills our hearts, our lives, our everyday. Hate is loud. It gets clicks. It gets attention. Hate, however, is actually quite small. But love is the majority. Love fills our hearts, our lives, our everyday.
Welcome back to Mustang Game Day. We've been evaluating Cal Poly's chances to win the Big West Championship, but now we're going to get into whether we think they're going to win the national championships. And so we're going to start by counting down the top 10 teams in the nation currently, and that's going to start with number 10, Long Beach State. Long Beach State, obviously longtime rival of Cal Poly, and that's going to be the key team to beat in this championship, and also Hawaii, who's at 16. But I think Long Beach is going to beat Hawaii like they did earlier today. And also, an important thing is that TCU, number 9, they won the whole thing last year. So you can't really count out TCU. And then number 8 is going to be Cal, 22-11 record. Cal Poly beat them twice this year. So hopefully if they face them again, they won't have a problem with them. LMU, Cal Poly hasn't played yet, but they made it to the finals last year, so you can't really count them out. I'd say the top 8 are like kind of dead even, honestly. And Cal Poly number 6. I mean, even though Cal Poly hasn't beat a single team in the top 3, the fact that they were this close, 2-3, they lost 2-3, 6 out of 8 times they played a top 3 team, which means that they can do it. And going into number 5 is going to be USC.
Yeah, USC is 26-9. They're obviously a really tough competitor. That's the team that Cal Poly saw a lot last season in the NCAA, going into the NCAA tournament. Number 4 is Florida State at 29-2. Number 3, Texas is 22-6. Number 2 is a familiar foe for Cal Poly, Stanford, who are 34-3. They were ranked number 1 for a lot of the season this year. Cal Poly came up just short, like we mentioned, in both of those matchups. Literally one set. That shows you how close this whole NCAA field really is. Cal Poly is down at 6 right now, but they've competed with teams that have, launched up to the top. And then at number 1 right now is UCLA, another team that Cal Poly has faced multiple times this season and lost to multiple times this season. They were 27-4. So obviously that's not a team, or none of those teams are except for Long Beach, are teams that Cal Poly has to worry about today. But it's definitely in the back of their mind as they approach the NCAA tournament. They could face any one of those programs once they get out there.
Yeah, and the key thing is, like all of the West Coast matchups, Cal Poly lost 3 times to Stanford, 3 times to UCLA, and 2 times to USC. So Cal Poly's got to get over that West Coast hump. They haven't really delivered in that, right? 0-8 overall against those teams. With Texas and Florida State, Cal Poly's played Florida State multiple times in the past. In the past four NCAA championships, they've played them twice. And so there's just a lot of opponents, a lot of familiarity within the top 10.
Yeah, and it's really interesting that Cal Poly's 0-8 against teams that are higher ranked than them as well, because when we talk about how close that field is, Cal Poly beat Cal multiple times, who are literally one spot below them. But then once you get above Cal Poly's ranking in the NCAA, they've struggled to close those key games. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can figure out how to do that going forward. I mean, it seems like Todd Rogers, in his interview, is confident in his team, but they definitely still have some work to do, which isn't what we saw last year with this team. They definitely had more of those upset wins. They beat UCLA. That was a huge win for Cal Poly. They haven't had any of those big statements this year against the top 2-3 teams in the nation.
Yeah, but we know they could do it. They know that they could do it. It's just whether it's honestly comes down to like chance at this point. It's been so close. It is a game of inches right now, and the national championships will take place in Gulf Shores, Alabama, and that's going to be Friday, May 1st to Sunday, May 3rd. And going into the matchup against UC Davis, Cal Poly has a 13-1 overall record against UC Davis. I mean, to be honest, it's going to be a landslide victory. I'd be surprised if UC Davis takes a set from Cal Poly. That would, if I were Todd Rogers and I see UC Davis beat a pair in a set, I'd be very concerned.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Ty, if we see a single set or a single match, where Cal Poly doesn't sweep the other team, I think that would be a shock. I would certainly be shocked if Cal Poly doesn't sweep UC Davis today.
Yeah, and to read off their pairs, Kinley Linhart and Ella Ertolova are the 1 pair, Shelby Santos and Kaylin Chastain in the 2, Kate Osteen and Sky Smolinski in the 3, and then Emma Johnson and Alexandra Leal in the 4, with Anna Brandt and Kendall Steller in the 5. And UC Davis went 1-1 against Sac State in their last tournament. So even though they beat CSUN, we don't really know where they're going to shake up once they get to bracket play. But they're going to lose to Long Beach State, Hawaii, or Cal Poly.
Most likely, yeah. I mean, this pool play is kind of an interesting format for Cal Poly because they're so far and away the best team in their pool. And then tomorrow with the bracket play, we'll see kind of how they match up against the other teams.
Yeah, and also getting into CSUN, who Cal Poly played earlier today. CSUN is a team that is 10-20 this season. They struggled against Cal Poly greatly today, and they came in as the 5 seed. They're going to be playing in Pool A tomorrow, and they're going to be playing against the Pool B number 3 seed. So we're going to see how that shakes up. That's going to be Sac State and Cal State Bakersfield, the winner of that game. But CSUN is just another team in this tournament. They're looking to, maybe pull off an upset in at least 1 set against Cal Poly or against Sac State and Bakersfield beat them. But again, we don't really see them going far. But yeah, getting into Hawaii though. Cal Poly versus Hawaii. This is a showdown that is not to be overlooked. Hawaii is ranked 16th nationally. Their head coach is Danny Alvarez. It's his first year as head coach, and he's a well-respected coach within the Hawaii community. He helped build the Bows into a national contender, and from 2012 to 2019. So he's done a lot for this Hawaii program before actually becoming the head coach.
Yeah, I mean, over the last 2 or so years, it's kind of been Cal Poly, Long Beach State, Cal Poly, Long Beach State. So it's cool to see Hawaii kind of reinsert themselves back into the top of the Big West picture as a real contender. But I think we do have to talk about the team that beat Hawaii today, which is Long Beach State. They finished 22-10 on the season and are clearly the number 2 team in this Big West Conference, especially after this game or the match today, as the number 10 ranked team in all the nation.
Yeah, I mean, They've beat Cal Poly in past years recently, with a lot of those same players, but one of them was Julia Westby as well. So that was honestly a little bit of a loss there. But historically, they're always going to be a tough opponent. You can never count them out. And last year was much more even, but this year, I think Cal Poly is finally going to take it. And that has been Mustang Game Day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Cal Poly versus UC Davis coming up next in just a